You know, when you're shooting yourself with a manual focus lens at f1.4, 50 millimeters, a vintage lens, manual aperture, manual everything, that's a challenge. And so I'm praying that this is in focus. But I wanted to talk real quickly about a video that I saw this morning that I thought was so beautiful and also was a great example of how when you get to a certain point with your filmmaking, you no longer think about the gear, like you know what you need, you know what you want, you know what you have to express yourself. And I'm kind of getting to that point where I guess I'm making this video because what I'm saying is that I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm not watching videos about camera bodies anymore, or even lenses. Like, unless I need a specific camera body for something, or unless I need a specific lens that I don't have, I don't want to watch these videos and feel like I don't have enough, or mine's not good enough, or something else is a little better. And then I'm like making excuses in my head, like, yeah, well, I could have done better, but I didn't really have what I needed. Like, that ain't it. I think when you get to a certain point, you have to stop. It's like a drug, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't allow you to find a place of clarity with your gear, to commit, to dig in and really learn that gear and not feel that you don't have what you need to make your best work. So I was inspired to make this video because I saw Potato Jet, that guy Gene, shared a video this morning of himself and his girlfriend, and it was a video of the journey of him proposing to this girl, Carrie. And it was kind of weird because, I've been following him for years. Like, I've learned a lot from this guy. And so, you kind of, it's almost like watching your favorite TV show. Like, you kind of feel like you know the characters after a while, And so I was really moved by the whole thing. It was very genuine. That's what I liked about it. It was very vulnerable. He's been very vulnerable in a lot of videos. He shared some personal ups and downs that he's had over the past few years. He shared a lot of his personal life with his girlfriend and their dogs and their travels and starting a new business. And it is like watching your favorite series. And so I'm watching this morning, and I'm really struck by a specific shot at the end of the video. And I thought, wow, that is the perfect textbook use of the proper focal length, like a wide shot. Because he had this moment where he proposed to Carrie, where he wanted to keep it private, but at the same time, he wanted to share it. And so he figured out a way where they had their privacy, they had their moment together, and we weren't like all in their faces during that moment, like we don't really know what it looked like, or what it really, the energy, the live energy, we don't really know what that was like. We got to build to that point with actually also like a master class in building a video to get to the last shot, to get to the end of your film, this exposition, this denouement, like he really built it up, and he really provided us with a great beginning, middle, and then the payoff at the end. And he used different focal lengths and different apertures, but I'm quite sure, I'm not sure because I don't know, but I would say that he probably doesn't even think about those things anymore, or if he thinks about them, they're just like a part of his language, just like saying good morning, or what do you want to go eat for dinner, like if he's waking up and he's going to share a vlog today, or a video, or he's going to do a review, or he's going to show us that he's proposing to his girl, he's going to know what camera to use, what lens, what focal length, what aperture, what the lighting, like he just knows how to do it, like he doesn't have to think about getting it right. He knows when he gets that into Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve or whatever he uses, Final Cut, he knows it's going to look good. You know, he knows that he's going to be able to grade it correctly. It's just, like I said, it's just his language. And so I've talked about this in the past, and I'm going to mention it again. There's a series that was on HBO last year called Station 11. And it was a beautiful story. It was a story actually of a pandemic, so it was very relevant. But it's a fantasy. It's not a true story. But there was a moment at the end that I thought was one of the most beautiful moments that I've ever seen in cinema, ever. You know, any film, any series, anything like it was this beautiful, quiet moment that you had to have watched the whole series to get that payoff, to get that kind of brilliance. You had to have watched the whole story. And if you did, the payoff that you got was otherworldly, like brilliant, you know, amazing. And so, you know, I'm not saying that what I saw this morning was like that, you know, but it was beautiful, you know, and it was perfect, and it was this wide shot, and you just, all you got was like body language and the knowledge that you had gained for the first 15 or 20 minutes of watching this video to get to that point. You had that, and so you were prepared for this moment, and then you could see it. You saw just enough to feel it. Because why do we watch anything? You know, I mean, obviously on YouTube we watch to learn quite often, you know. So that's what I watch YouTube for, is to learn. It's like film school for me. And so otherwise, if it's not for learning, if I'm watching a film or a play, or I hear an album, or I go see an art show, you know, see paintings or sculpture or dance, I'm going because I want to feel something, you know, that I'm not feeling in the moment. You know, like I want somebody to give me something that's going to swell my heart, you know, that's going to move me. And this morning, watching Potato Jet give a master class in not only how to make a YouTube video and how to use focal length and aperture and movement and dialogue and storytelling, and how to get to that payoff at the end, and how to make you feel completely satisfied, like you just witnessed something real and human. I was really struck by it, and it also made me think about where I am right now with my work, and how grateful I am that I feel like I've learned enough where I no longer feel like I have to, you know, watch these videos to find the right camera. Like I have my Panasonic S5. It's perfect for what I need. I'm working on a film right now. I don't feel want for anything. Like I feel like I have, like, just because my camera doesn't have phase detect autofocus and isn't as good as a Sony with regards to autofocus, I don't care, because it's not stopping me from doing what I'm trying to do with this film. Like I could do exactly what I want to do. I have no limitations with the gear that I have for what I want to do. You know, when I had my Sony a6400, I had so many lenses. I had a table filled with lenses. And I, at one time or another, I owned every APS-C lens for the E-mount. I can't imagine that there was a lens out there that I didn't own. Cheap, expensive, whatever. When I was playing that eBay game, I was going back and forth, and I actually was lucky. You know, I played it pretty well. Like I didn't lose money really. You know, maybe a little bit, but not anything significant that would get me in trouble. And I also was like a prime person. Like I was like, I'll never use zoom lenses. I love primes. That's it. And then through, you know, learning and experience, and now working on an actual project, although I had worked on a documentary before, but I only used one lens for that documentary, and it worked out fine. It was a 35mm Sony f1.8 OSS lens, which is a 50mm equivalent, and it served all my needs for that documentary. But anyway, now I'm working on this film. And by the way, you know, as is well documented in all my videos, you know, I made an entire feature film on my phone. And that phone has a 27mm lens, the LG V40. So I was happy with that, you know. But anyway, now I'm working on a feature-length film with this full-frame camera, this amazing camera that has incredible stabilization and dynamic range and low light capability, and you know, when I started working on it, I realized I need a zoom lens because I'm putting myself in all these environments where there's a lot of stuff going on that's unpredictable, you know? And I realized that a zoom lens is much more flexible for what I want to do. This run and gun, like shooting myself, you know, I don't have a crew. I don't have the luxury of having all these other people and all these other eyes. You know, I'm doing this myself. And so a priority for me was to have something that was going to make it easier, you know, and don't talk about the autofocus because I enjoy autofocus and I know how to shoot myself with autofocus. So, but I realized having a lens where I could change the focal lengths and I could, you know, work with aperture, and I could, you know, I know how to use, I have great filters, you know, black promise filter, my ND filter, obviously. I know how to get into DaVinci Resolve, and I can actually get the look that I love so much in my vintage lenses. Now, I only have 3 lenses now. You know, like I sold all my Sony stuff to get this S5, and when I got the S5, it came with a Ninja V, which I never used, and it came with a 50mm f1.8 Panasonic lens. I sold them both. And at the time, I got a Siri 35mm anamorphic lens because I was really interested in shooting anamorphic, and this was my opportunity to learn with a camera that allowed me to de-squeeze in camera. And I had that lens, and I had the Minolta Rokkor 50mm f1.4, which I'm shooting on right now, which was a lens that my father had, God rest his soul. And I also had a Minolta Telesor 28mm f2.8. So I have those 2 lenses still. And the only other lens that I have now is the Sigma 28-70 f2.8 because I wanted something light. I knew that it had great quality. It's Sigma. I've owned a bunch of Sigma lenses, you know, APS-C. And I just knew that lens would be perfect for me, for what I want. You know, it wasn't quite as wide as I had hoped, but I could do with that. You know what I mean? Like I could do what I got to do with the 28-70. And I have not for 1 second felt like I'm limited with what I have now. Panasonic S5, the original. Sigma 28-70 f2.8. My 2 vintage lenses, which I'm not really, you know, I have the Sigma on my camera 98% of the time. And if I really absolutely want that look, or if I need incredible low light capability, I'll throw this 50mm f1.4 on, and obviously that'll help me a lot. If I absolutely need like the blurriest background in the history of the world, I'll put this on, you know. But I get great blurry background, great bokeh with the f2.8, you know, Sigma lens, especially when I zoom it into 70mm or 60 or 50 or even 35. Like I get great background separation. So what I'm saying, I digress. I'm sorry about that. Once again, I don't know how to tell a short story. But I don't feel the need to watch these videos of camera bodies and lenses because I'm good with what I have right now. And when I feel limited again, I will definitely come back and learn from these amazing YouTubers about all this stuff. And I will choose what best serves me when I'm moving forward, you know? I mean, if I do watch a video now, it's about something that there's no way I'm going to buy, like an Arri Alexa or a Red camera or something like that. Like I'm not buying one of those cameras. I am a geek and I am interested in that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit there and watch all these other videos when I don't need those cameras. I don't need anything. It's just going to make me feel bad. It's going to take my focus from me. It's going to take some of the energy that my commitment is to learning this camera inside out, to being able to work like Gene, like Potato Jet, and be able to get up and just shoot and know what it's going to look like and know that it's going to be good and know when I get back to my computer that I'm going to have what I need. That's the way we should be working. So kudos to Potato Jet for putting out a beautiful video this morning. Congratulations to him and Carrie. I'm not going to put any of this in the title or anywhere, you know, in my description or anything, because I don't want anybody to feel like I'm using that to get more views. I ain't about that. I just wanted to share that I was really moved by that, and I've learned so much from that guy. And I hope, my hope is that for everybody who is, you know, kind of like in the position that I'm in, where I've only been working with an actual camera for about 3 or 4 years now, that I hope you get to the point where you no longer geek out on these videos constantly in a way that takes away from learning what you have and maximizing what you have and realizing that you have more than enough right now. And maybe take that energy into watching videos about screenwriting, storytelling, lighting, you know, blocking, composition, watch Roger Deakins videos, things like that, as opposed to what's the best camera body, because you probably have it already, you know. And even though it might not be, like my camera is not the best at everything, it's not the best of the best of the best, but it's the best for me. I don't need anything else, you know. I'm in love with this camera because it's allowing me to share a story that's really important to me, that I'm really excited about, and that I'm already 3/4 done shooting. And I've had an incredible experience with it so far. After I finish this film, I'm going to buy 2 more lenses, because when I got the Siri anamorphic lens, I sold it because I realized that I wasn't going to shoot anamorphic for this movie. And so I got that money so I would have enough money to get this Sigma and not have to feel like I'm just, you know, $500 something just sitting there on my table doing nothing. But I really enjoyed shooting anamorphic, and I'm shooting a documentary later this year, and I am going to shoot that anamorphic. And I have a camera that allows me to de-squeeze in camera, and so I'm going to buy probably a 24 and a 50mm Siri lens, because the APS-C mode on this camera is ridiculously clean. Like, you don't lose any quality, none. So I'm excited about that. I'll do that down the road, but like I said, I'm only going to look at these videos when I feel like I need something, and learn as much as I can, get what I want, get what I need, and then get back to work, and not waste my time and let all my energy be sucked away into this gear acquisition world where everybody needs the greatest of the greatest, but they're not even using 75% of what those cameras can do. So yeah, my wish is for you to be able to tell all the stories that you feel compelled to share as well as you possibly can with exactly what you have. And I hope that's more important to you than having something that would equip you to be able to do anything, but then you find yourself actually doing nothing.